You make Charlie of Manchester United's performance last night?
Just what we're used to, I guess. They've been good for the last few weeks. You have the international break probably come for the wrong time for them. But I look at it now more than anything is that you go against 10 men, that's fine. With players, it's sometimes tough to break down. It is tough against 10 men, but players have got to take accountability. It's all right hiding behind the managers, but you're on the pitch, you've got leaders, characters, and the biggest eye-opener, and I think the alarming bit was how much they missed and rely on Matheus Cunha.
Jamie?
Yeah, he talks about complacency. I think it's on the manager. That last night was, really and truthfully, you look at the performance, massive chance for them to get themselves up into the top four against a decent Everton side. They go down to 10 men and you lose the game. That's on the manager. Gary Neville touched on it there. They're playing 5 at the back. And when they go down to 10 men, the first thing the manager should do is put on an attacking player and take a centre-half off. You do not need 3 players at the back. And I think he's out of his depth. And we've been hoodwinked into thinking that over the last month or so they've had a couple of decent performances, a couple of decent results. He's miles off it. Miles off it. That's look, Charles, I agree with you with the complacency, with the players as well. But a manager to not change his tactics when they've gone down to 10 men and you leave 5 at the back. But that's ridiculous.
But you say hoodwinked on the results that they've obviously had. That's because they've been so below par since obviously he's come in, and we talked about him and his tactics, this kind of stuff. However, the players have to contribute to the match day result, don't they? And I get they're going out there, but we've done it as players. You go across the white line, now you're out there. Yes, he's chosen a team and picked the 11, the tactics, but you've still got to go and perform.
But you still need the gaffer to help you out, don't you?
Yeah, but they've
if you're a striker and you're looking over at the gaffer going, they're down to 10 men, I'm still playing up front on my own. You're saying, gaffer, help me out, put someone up with me.
Of course, but Premier League players surely use their IQ that, right, we can move forward at least. We know how hard it is to break down a block of 10 men behind the ball, of course, but surely it's Manchester United. Or, however, are we now looking at it because of them results where they've done well over the last 4 or 5 games? Are you thinking, right, they've made progression? Or is it just going to be the same old Man United?
I think the manager's so arrogant, Tom. He's so arrogant in his formation that he is so hell-bent on saying, I'm playing 3-4-3. This is the formation that works for me. I'm not changing my philosophy, regardless of what happens. A game changes. Over 90 minutes in a game, in-game management as a manager, you've got to adapt. Things happen. Things change. You might have a player sent off. They have a player sent off. Use the numerical advantage that they had last. They didn't use the advantage that they had because they had 3 players standing at the back marking 1 player. So it was pointless having Everton down to 10 men because they didn't do anything about it.
There was someone there, Charlie, messaging on WhatsApp saying that why did they need 3 centre-backs against Tierno Barry on his own, which I think is the point is one of the points Jamie's making. I remember you saying, Charlie, that when Manchester United picked up their form, we weren't talking about the formation anymore, like we were every single day, it seemed, when they weren't doing so well. But, and the formation has been working lately, but they haven't been playing against 10 men.
No, they haven't. And I guess that's where you go on about where you have to adapt to certain...
It was Chelsea, I suppose.
Yeah, but you have to adapt to certain scenarios, right, and certain situations. But regardless, we've played 3 centre-halves against 1. Well, surely they've got enough about them, enough experience in that back 3 to go 1 in front, 1 in behind, and then you just tuck in.
But
you just move into the position.
Shaw's got a lot of England caps. De Ligt has got a
well, that's what I'm saying.
lot of caps. They do have a lot of experience. They've got Bruno Fernandes caps. That was not a young team who needed the manager to say, you've got to press forward.
That's what I'm saying. So surely you can make them decisions on the pitch also. Experienced players. Yes, you got the manager. I'm not saying go against the manager. Of course not at all times. But you can feel it on the pitch. You can change it. Them leaders on the pitch should be able to make changes and make decisions for themselves during the game. Yes,
I think they're scared, though, Charles. I think they're scared. I think the players at Man United are scared to make decisions.
But what's that say about Man United then, Jay?
Well,
like, what's that say? If you've got players, this is why the spotlight's on Matheus Cunha, because he's someone that's there carrying the badge, carrying the Man United shirt, and playing like a Manchester United player of old. Yeah. And now you've got players on the pitch that are scared to make decisions. That's ridiculous.
Well, Bruno Fernandes was on the pitch.
Yeah, but Bruno Fernandes, he's not. It can't be a one-man band, right? You've got to have quality around you. You've got to have players that can make a difference. And there's, finding spaces, finding gaps. When I was watching the game last night, not only did they have 3 at the back, but there was moments when it goes out to the winger, Ahmad's a good player, by the way, and I like him. He was decent last night, and he'll have a go. But when he's turning back, His pass is 20 yards.
Just when you thought Liverpool were the biggest mess, Manchester United have stepped up or down again. Ruben Amorim's sack, is it? The Premier League is fascinating right now. Send your views to the editor at football365.com before the Champions League takes over. Sack Ruben Amorim. Now. I'd sack him now. He had a false dawn, but tonight was the worst, and against 10 men. Not a clue. Tony Clark. After this performance, I am questioning Amorim again. This defeat feels worse than some of the others. Everton down to 10 men for most of the game, and we're still the better team. Still playing 5 at the back when you're a man up? Amorim's substitutions are always suspect. Every time we get near 4th or 5th, we buckle, and this one is on Amorim. How can you play with 5 at the back against 10 men and still lose the first ball 90% of the time? I'm really disappointed tonight. What was it Einstein said about doing the same thing over and over again? Kenneth, Dublin. He's just asking for it. A year on, Dalot at left wing-back, when chasing a goal against a 10-man David Moyes team, I don't understand why it would or could work. Sure, not many other options other than Shaw, who has scored in a Euro final. Srodko. No chance Amorim wins anything at Man United. Having watched United after 10 or so games, I was honestly expecting at least a slight upgrade to the absolute shambles that was last season. And frankly, I can't comprehend how we won the last few matches that we did. Once again, no definite style of play and no basic in-game strategies, a very basic for a decent coach. No changes in formation to deal with the situational change after 20 minutes, but I guess it would have been foolhardy to expect anything such. Midfielders playing as forwards and defenders as wingers again. Absolutely no heart from any player, no desire to fight it out. Fernandes must be the worst captain we've ever had. And I could go on. I'm just wondering how we managed to end up having to endure something like this for the next 3 years. Insane. Sabi, Reading. Jamie Carragher is Captain Obvious. Good to see Jamie, Bloody Carragher, out in full force again after UT lose, blaming the manager and system. This is a bad night for the manager. Indeed it is. But it's also a bad night for all of the players who didn't play particularly well, and all of us supporters who had to struggle through that. Thanks, Captain Obvious. Although, of course, losing 3-0 at home to a team in the relegation zone is a great day out for a manager whose system is apparently without flaw and only needs to spend another $500 million in January, according to our Jamie. How is that system working for you, Jamie? Honestly, give me a quarter of his salary and I will give you better insight than him. Will guarantee you better perspective than a half-burnt paper bag floating in the wind and will generally just be better crack. Is it forced fun, you say? It's not my fault this guy has set the bar so low. Bad result for UT. We struggled to break down a resolute Everton. We didn't carry the ball well enough and Pickford made few decent saves. But that's football. Some days it just doesn't happen. Gary Vance, MUFC.
Man United target Carlos Baleba backed to complete a £100 million transfer. It's a done deal. Manchester United have Brighton star Carlos Baleba right at the top of their transfer shortlist after a failed move in the summer, and they might have just been given the update that they've been wanting. Brighton star Carlos Baleba will be on the move soon, amid strong interest from Manchester United. They were initially interested in the summer, albeit Brighton's £100 million price tag eventually put them off. But that interest hasn't dropped entirely. Baleba remains a key target of United chiefs ahead of a huge midfield rebuild at Old Trafford. Nottingham Forest's Elliot Anderson and Atletico Madrid star Conor Gallagher are among their alternative targets. But now Baleba has been backed to complete a mega money move to one of the Premier League's big boys by former Mali international Cedric Conte. Speaking to Africa Foot, he said, Manchester United have been interested in him for some time now, especially during the last summer transfer window. It doesn't really surprise me, as the club has the resources to sign him and offer him a very high salary. In my opinion, yes, Baleba will sign with a big English club soon. It seems a done deal. Now, the question is when the Cameroonian will leave Brighton. If a club comes in with an offer of over 100 million euros, is Man